The process of molding facial parts and gluing them to an actor's face is called appliance makeup. It can turn Michael Dorn into an angry Klingon aboard the Starship Enterprise.
It's such a painful process, you know, with the glue and all the stuff going on your face, that you're not a nice person after a while. And it was very easy for me to play Worf after the makeup process, because I hated everybody, especially my makeup artist.
For actor Robert Englund, appliance makeup brings about an even more dramatic transformation. After about 3 hours in the makeup chair, he becomes Hollywood's most popular psychopath, Freddy Krueger.
I wish I had the makeup on sometimes when I'm on the LA freeway. You know, I'd love to pull up next to some of those drivers that don't use their turn signal. Freddy's very consistent. He's absolutely, unapologetically evil.
Are we sure we don't have anything that doesn't sting?
No, I wish.
When it came to creating a believable Sasquatch for Harry and the Hendersons, creature creator Rick Baker knew he would need more than the standard appliance makeup.
I found that at one point there was a limitation to it. You can only add so much to a person's face before it becomes very masky. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to not have to deal with actors' faces and make whatever you want?
So Rick designed a false head to be worn by 7'2" tall actor Kevin Peter Hall, whose real eyes would show through. Inside the pointed ape-like head were small remote control motors that operated Harry's eyebrows, forehead, nose, cheeks, and mouth. The result was a believable character, capable of interacting with John Lithgow and the rest of the cast.
The first time we did camera tests, everyone was so thrilled because it was actually working. All this mechanics was pulling off the amazing trick of persuading people that this was a real animal. The audience makes that imaginative leap.
Harry and the Hendersons brought Rick Baker an Academy Award and changed our concept of Bigfoot forever.
Does this mean we can keep him?
But you're the Pumpkin King.
Not anymore.
While Sasquatch may have some basis in reality, the characters from The Nightmare Before Christmas come strictly from the imagination of filmmaker Tim Burton. In his previous movies, such as Batman Returns and Edward Scissorhands, he created eccentric personalities with special makeup effects. But when it came to bringing Jack Skellington and his ghoulish friends to life, Tim turned to stop-motion animation. The painstaking technique of filming miniature puppets, one still photograph or frame at a time. The animator must move each joint of the puppet's body very slightly, making sure it is moving in the desired direction. Often it can take an entire day to complete just 1 second of finished film.
It's a very tense, very, I don't know, I get very nervous every time I go around it because I feel like I'm going to just knock everything over.
One of the biggest challenges was to have the puppets' mouths move in sync with the pre-recorded voices. 400 different heads were made for Jack. They were photographed and scanned into a computer, and a printout was prepared showing which numbered head to use for each frame of film. It took more than 2 years to complete The Nightmare Before Christmas, but the proof of the filmmaker's wizardry is on the screen, where for 74 minutes, the inanimate comes to life.
Of course! That's what I'm missing. Thanks.
You just... Innerst blasts. The explosion of the Terminator's gas tanker truck looks enormous, but in reality, the vehicle was an 8-foot-long model, carrying 3 gallons of gasoline. The explosion was originally going to be shot full scale, blowing up the actual truck driven by Arnold Schwarzenegger. But the location where the filming took place was next to a police munitions armory, and the necessary permits were denied. So a model replica of the truck was built, and the location's buildings, street, and parked cars were duplicated in miniature in the parking lot of effects house Fantasy 2. An even bigger challenge was the movie's future war sequence. Effects supervisor Gene Warren Jr. had to stage believable miniature battle scenes that would be combined with full-scale shots filmed with the actors. Gene oversaw construction of a 700-square-foot miniature set of a war-torn Los Angeles, designed to have a grim and gritty look. It included such ominous details as miniature skulls. The futuristic war machines, out to destroy the last vestige of humanity, were built in Fantasy II's model shop. Miniature combat vehicles, including a 200-pound hunter-killer tank, had radio-controlled treads, turrets, and guns. Aerial hunter-killers were suspended on wire and pulled through the set, which was heavily smoked during filming to simulate atmospheric conditions. An essential element of the Terminator's future war were its explosions. Pyrotechnics expert Joe VISKOCIL had earlier blown up hundreds of model spaceships and the Empire's Death Star in Star Wars. Here, he destroyed several of the carefully crafted miniatures with a combination of gasoline and black powder.
There is a lot of pressure when you have only one model, and that model might cost anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000. It's one model. And until that shot is over, then you can relax and celebrate, but not until you push that button.
With model vehicles and miniature worlds in their bag of tricks, the masters of illusion have proven that even little effects can have a big impact, and that there is no such thing as an impossible shot. In Terminator 2 Judgment Day, image compositing helped create a single-screen character, the T-1000, played by Robert Patrick.
He was the ultimate weapon. He was the ultimate machine, the ultimate warrior. And so that was the core of, like, the performance, was defining the body posture. It's just it's a very physical performance and putting on that face of intensity.
But more than acting was required to create the character's liquid metal properties. That assignment went to leading effects house Industrial Light and Magic, or ILM. And 8-time Academy Award winner Dennis MUREN knew that traditional special effects techniques would not be adequate.
I had been feeling probably since the mid-'80s that we had been doing, we'd reached the end of what we could do. You know, we could vary this a little bit, we can vary that, but there wasn't really much we could do that could be unique or different.
So ILM accepted the challenge of developing a new generation of computer graphics that would be realistic enough to blend with film of a live actor. The first step was to obtain a laser scan of Patrick's face and body. These data were input into a computer, and three-dimensional models of Patrick were rendered. Next, the effects team shot reference film of his walk, run, and other movements. The computer models were then manipulated by effects artists and blended with the live-action film to create T-1000's terrifying transformations.
It's a total ensemble effort of technology, film magic, and actor bringing it all together and creating this, this villain.
If we had any doubts about the qualifications of this new Terminator to go up against Arnold Schwarzenegger, ILM's groundbreaking special effects quickly put them to rest.
And action.
Oh, God.
Jim Carrey's comedy, The Mask, combines the computer effects of Terminator 2 and the zaniness of Roger Rabbit. Jim plays Stanley Ipkiss, a bank clerk whose dull life is transformed when he discovers a supernatural mask.
Stanley loves cartoons. He's always been into cartoons. And so when he becomes the Mask, there's a certain, you know, at any time his eyes can shoot out of his head and things like that. It's that kind of energy.
These are shots which even Carrey, with his elastic face, could never perform on his own.
But I can grow a beard. Watch. No.
A team of 25 animators at ILM is creating the computer graphics that will turn Carrey into a human cartoon character. Animation director Steve Williams is using many of the same techniques he employed to bring dinosaurs to life in Jurassic Park.
This is the first time we're actually doing a film where we can use cartoon-type mentality. Traditionally, what we've done in terms of The Abyss and Terminator and Jurassic were more or less a paint-by-numbers process, where we had a storyboard to follow, and we knew we had to make it look realistic, and it was for the sake of making it look suspenseful or scary. Now we can really have some fun.
It will take close to a year to complete the mask's 100 computer graphic shots. The goal of the animation team is for the audience to not think about special effects, but simply to accept this character who just happens to behave like a toon.